Well, I'm really glad to be here, and it's kind of like coming to a second home here when I come because there's so many. I think I know most of you in the service today, and it just is so fun to be home. And I'm so grateful that you guys have been supporting me for the last 3 years. So I'm going to talk quickly as I go through these because we want to hear Pastor Jamie. So 3 years ago, I left for Belgium as a missionary associate with Assemblies of God World Missions. Okay. And I went to Continental Theological Seminary in St. Peter's-Loo, Belgium. It's just outside of Brussels, and it's our AGWM. It's the main continental or training school on continental Europe. And it's a beautiful campus there. It started in 1959. They offer bachelors in French and English. And we offer Saturday classes as well. And now we have 4 extension sites in different countries. So this last year, we had over 200 students enrolled through the various programs, which sounds small here in the U.S., but in Europe, that is a good-sized seminary. Okay, so obviously chapel service, besides the academic things, the spiritual things, of course, are important in the school. So we have chapel services 4 times a week. And the students are also required to go to be involved in a local church. And then there's also, every March, there's a ministry week, and students, especially the BA full-time students, are required to go on a a ministry week. And this is something the students plan and lead. They connect with someone in another country and plan this trip for a week. And then also summer missions trips. We only had one couple go this year, but they've had other teams going other years, and that once again is trips that the students plan. They connect with the ministry and they do all the planning for that, and it's nothing that CTS supports. They have to raise the funds for it. There are some funds that come into the school that go towards that, but otherwise this is totally their thing, and they have gone some difficult places. That year they went to Cambodia. These guys went to North Africa and had amazing testimonies. Okay, and of course, then there's community and the fun, and they do a lot of fun stuff. Just a note about the students there. The students come from all over the world, and this last year they represented over 30 nations. And I had mentioned before there's over 200 students last year, and nearly 60% of the local ones live on campus. So it's still a small community, so it's really fun to get to know each other. We have really intense ping pong competitions, and bonfires. That's a ladies' hangout night. You can go to the next slide. And that's just me with some of the students. And I was talking to my friends here if we had any British students. Those are the 2 ladies. They're originally from England, but they live in Belgium now. They kind of latched on to me as their mom there. These are some ladies I was able to cover for one of the staff members. They have peer tutoring groups, they call them, but basically it's kind of a check-in every month. And I was able to, 2 falls, be able to cover for another one. So these are some lovely ladies I got to meet. That was in my apartment. So you can go ahead. Of course, we had a fun time with God's Got Talent. And CTS, God's Talent, that was really fun. Go ahead. And graduation. I didn't put any graduation pictures in from this year, but I was there. And so here's, my 60th birthday I celebrated last year in Belgium. So my friends had a little party. That's Thanksgiving meal. All the Assemblies of God missionaries in Belgium come together and have a meal. What's really cool is at the school they also do an American Thanksgiving meal for all of the students. And none of the staff is invited. We cannot go. It's just for the students. So we have our own. And then here, this lovely couple asked me to sing with them in the Christmas program. So the night before I flew home in December, I got to sing, and I surprised everybody by singing in French at the end, because I did not learn French, so that was an accomplishment for me. So go ahead. So just to pause for a second, so I was overseas for 2 years, and this year I've been working remotely here at home, but still working for the school. But in Belgium, they got rid of their religious visa. So I could not get a visa. So every 90 days, I had to be not only out of Belgium, but out of the whole Schengen country, or Schengen area, which is over 20 countries. And so I was very limited in where I could go. So every 90 days, I was somewhere else for 90 days. So my first winter, I went to Omagh, Northern Ireland. And when I would go out for these times, I would still continue to work for the school remotely. But we always tried to find some place where I could also help the local ministry or church. So this one, I was there at Christmas. So my first Christmas, I was actually in Northern Ireland. And they have a Christmas meal and Christmas gifts that they used to do in the church. We were still under COVID restrictions at this time, so we packed them all up and people delivered them. And then that's me asking for money for the Christmas dinner at the local grocery store. And these are some of our AG missionaries in Ireland. So, all right. And that is, so at the local church, that's the pastor and his wife and their younger daughter. There's the church. They had an they had the Alpha sessions, and so this was at the weekend. And then the ladies had a going away lunch for me. That was very nice. Okay, so then I went back to Belgium. Was here in the States for the summer because we couldn't find some place for me to go quick enough in Europe. So then the next winter, I went to Bosnia. And that was totally different than Ireland or Belgium. And as some of you more my age will remember, Bosnia was in a war. And it still looks very war-torn. There's still a lot of tension there between the three people groups. But it is a beautiful country with beautiful people. And it's really fun to go in the old part of town there. And so, yeah, they have the two different things. They had the Austro-Hungarian and they had the Ottoman. So there's, in Bosnia, there are Bosnian Muslims, Serbian Orthodox, and Croatian Catholics. And that is what all kind of came to a head during the war, and there's still a lot of tension between those people groups. So go ahead. So this is the team in Bosnia. We have 2 units. So there's Kurt and Sarah Hobbs on the outside, and Chris and Katie Sasser on the inside. And I'll tell you, I got to help both of these units. Go ahead. So Kurt and Sarah work with a local Bosnian church. That's Pastor Sasha there, and the youth pastor was being ordained, and that was really cool to be there for that. They have a Bible school that students from all over, even from Croatia, will come in, and they'll meet at the school there. So I was able to help a couple times get meals prepared for them. And then I was able to, that winter, I was able to participate in handing out Christmas shoe boxes at the schools. And it was one of my favorite things. We went to 2 different schools, and then we went to a business as well. And I don't know if you can really tell from the picture, but my favorite kid is up there in that picture with the little red and white shirt on. And just the joy on that kid's face was so incredible. And there's other pictures I don't have up, but just to see the joy on these kids' faces when they open these boxes is just amazing. And I think these were about 2nd graders that we got to distribute to. And then in the summer when I went back there, I helped at the camp. Now, their camp, but like I said, Bosnia is a beautiful country. Their camp is up in the mountains. So that's looking down at the camp. I worked in the kitchen, and while I was there those weeks, it was in the 90s and humid, and the kitchen, it's probably a good thing there wasn't a thermometer in the kitchen, and of course, no air conditioning. But any of you that know Lake Geneva, this is not like Lake Geneva, okay? If you go to the next slide, most of the people were tenting. Most of the campers tented. And that's the meeting room. It's outside, no walls. But they would decorate it up for each individual camp. They had a prep camp that that we did food for. There was a prayer camp. And then they had like a kids, a youth, a young adult. I think there was one that was like a family camp. They also had a Royal Ranger camp, which I was not at. But over in Europe, Royal Rangers is for boys and girls. And so it was really interesting. I saw pictures of the Royal Ranger camp. And of course, even all around the world, youth are the same, right? With the pies, with whipped cream pies. Yep, go ahead. And we had a baptism. You will never see people going to the beach like that here, will you? That was at kids camp, and I had to snap that photo. So I was doing laundry one day. Okay, so this one, so at the camp, the water would go out almost every day. You didn't know when. It might be when you're getting in the shower. And this particular day, the kitchen lights went out while we were making dinner. So we improvised. We ran extension cords and put lamps in there. So you just do what you have to do. So, all right. So the other couple, what they do is they have a business's mission, or BAM as we call it, and they have a skate shop. So it's been doing quite well. If you go to the next one, I was able to, I didn't help them much, but I was able to go and help them. They received donations of clothing and shoes, and I was able to go and help them get their outlet store all set up. So I did a lot of folding of clothes. So if I have to go to work in a department store, I'm ready to go. So, all right, and then they were able, with the help of another ministry, they were able to redo and improve the skate park in Sarajevo, and it is drawing a lot of students. If you go to the next one. So the other thing they do is they have planted an international church, so an English-speaking international church. It was such a blessing for me the last half of the summer to go to a church where people spoke English, and I didn't have to wear the big old headphones. And so this is the church, and in Bosnia, it is illegal to proselytize anyone under the age of 18. And so the two young men on either side, the left one is one of the pastor's sons. He and his friend decided they were starting a Bible study at that skate park so that they could reach out, because they can proselytize people under 18 because they're under 18, but no adults could. So they were taking the reins and doing that. And funny note, I was just in Springfield in June, and all of a sudden the pastor's other son was there, and that young man on the right. They were in Springfield, Missouri, so I had to snap a picture, of course. But all right, you can go ahead. So then I spent my last 3 months back at Continental Theological Seminary. Go ahead. We started the new year. So this is it's a beautiful campus. They have the lake there. Over here is the chapel. This is the building where I lived, that little brown jutted out spot on the left side. That's my apartment. It was a nice 2-bedroom apartment, very blessed. That was the view outside my window when I moved in. Now there is a huge new building there that we will be dedicating October 5th. It has new housing and a new cafeteria and kitchen and meeting space. It's amazing. It keeps getting delayed. We're hoping the students can move straight into it in September, but they might have to move in the old dorms and then move. But we're very excited about that. So, okay, go ahead. This was taken at the end of the year, and that is the board, the staff, the students that were there. And I am there. You can find me in the front. I'm always in the front. I don't know why, but... And what a wonderful crew. I love to look at this picture because they truly became my family. Even though I was in and out every 3 months, they are my CTS family. Go ahead. And so that is the motto, changing lives to change the world, which they are doing. CTS graduates are in different positions in over 60 countries around the world. So they are making an impact. So they go back to their home countries or another country that God has called them to, and they're truly making an impact. Make sure I didn't miss anything here now. All right, go ahead. So I had to take that picture. It was a beautiful night, and that's how I think of CTS. That's the cafeteria there. And I work in that building. It's an old stables. There used to be a chateau on the property. I can tell people about that later. But so what am I doing now? I moved home in December, but I am continuing to work for CTS remotely, just like I did when I was out for my 3 months at a time. I also have an added responsibility. I'm working with AG World Missions Europe Pipeline, which is where new missionaries come in and start looking at, hey, I want to go on a short-term mission trip, or I want to be a MA for 1 or 2 years. And so I'm kind of doing some admin work to help with that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm continuing the missions here at home. It was just, I could have gone back to Belgium, but I would have been in 3 out, 3 in again. And, you know, remember, I turned 60. That's getting a little harder on me. So, anyway, but still continuing the ministry there. And I love it. I got to go back May to June for 4 weeks for graduation. And I'm going to go back in September again for 4 weeks. I'll be there to start the new year, get everybody invoiced, and be there for the dedication of the new building. So I'm really excited to be back there again. So I appreciate your support these last 3 years. You've been amazing. So everything you saw up here, you have all been a part of it. Because we partnered together. I may be the one going over there, but you guys are the ones that are enabling me to do that. And so you are as much a part of this ministry as I am. So thank you very much.